Hi, I'm Sophie.
Hi, I'm Paul, and we are
SP Film Viewers.
the film viewers return.
Woo! Married.
Man and wife.
Yeah.
Hope you all missed us.
Yeah, I hope so. We are actually on our little mini moon at the moment, so Paul's like, "Oh, we need to get right back on it."
Yeah.
Made me miss Halloween.
Yeah. Had your fun.
Yeah.
Your time off now. It's back to serious stuff now.
No, can I give you my ring back if that's how it's going to be? No, to be fair, we had a wonderful wedding. It was more than we could have asked for. Everyone that attended just let the hair down, really enjoyed it and embraced it. And we were on time. If anything, we were earlier with everything. Mm-hmm. So it went without a hitch, really, didn't it?
Yeah. You showed up, so that's
I showed up.
Yeah.
You looked very dapper.
You look very pretty.
Thank you. I was waiting for that. I wasn't too bad.
Yeah, I was going to. Don't worry. I don't think I wasn't going to say.
Yeah, I didn't want you to feel like you were obliged to have to say. But no, I think I scrubbed up all right.
You did right, yeah.
Yeah. And if you don't know, there'll be photos to come. Everybody that we had, suppliers and vendors that we had were fantastic. Mm-hmm. So if anyone is getting married and wants any ideas as photographer, our cake lady, the venue, anything like that, we really did have brilliant suppliers.
We did, yeah.
They were like
Couldn't
literally
ask for better, yeah.
No, they knocked it out of the park.
Perfect, yeah. Anyway, so
enough about the wedding. That's done now.
Where we're having our mini moon is in Scotland, so I wanted to try and find a Scottish film to talk about. Thought it made sense to do so, but obviously sort of limitations with what was kind of free and available on the subscription services we got on the television in our room and stuff, to like Chromecast or whatever, to access those. But for our first film back, we're going to go with Gregory's Girl.
I've never heard of it.
Okay. I've heard the name before, and I've known the director. We've covered a film of Bill Forsyth's, which was Local Hero. Remember, it was one of those films I did in film studies in school. It was the American who came over to the little Scottish island, and he kind of like fell in love with the place.
Yeah.
Yeah, you remember that?
I do.
Yeah.
But I don't think I enjoyed it.
Okay.
I do remember it. I remember it dragging.
Okay.
Was that weird thing where they all went to the church and it just seemed a little bit all strange? And you had a room. Yeah, I think I know what it is.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't think I liked it.
Okay. Well, this is a rom-com, it says.
Yay!
Thing. Although it has something to do with football, so that should be interesting as to whether...
Neither one of us like football.
I'm hoping it's not too involved with that, but...
If it is, we're going to be like either fasting through it.
Yeah, so two people that don't really care too much about football. Be interesting to cover it, but I think it seems pretty highly rated on IMDb and Rotten Tomatoes and Amazon. So,
but is it highly rated by me? We'll have to see.
Yeah,
because that's what everyone wants to know. They don't want to know what these in-depth sites say. They just want to know my opinion.
Yeah. Well, the description, very brief description on Google says, Gregory, a teenage boy, falls in love with a classmate and tries to win her love. The girl who he holds affection for bags a place in the school's soccer team. Football team here in the UK.
Okay. I thought he'd be playing, so I'm happy that he's...
I assume he's probably involved somehow, but he's really just...
Maybe he's a cheerleader.
Do you have cheerleaders for football? That's more American football, isn't it?
Isn't? Oh yeah, this is Scottish. Yeah. Shut up, Sophie.
It's about an hour and a half as well, so nice and short and sweet to get back in the swing of things.
Sounds good. Looking forward to it.
Yep.
I'm literally now SP as well, so I am the owner of this show. Because my initials say I am SP.
Take it away with you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, I can't because you do all the hard work.
Right, so we'll be back shortly with our thoughts. Hello everybody, this is Paul from SP Film Viewers. Just wanted to do a little shout out to try and plug the Patreon. Yep, we've jumped on that bandwagon. Now, you might be wondering, what do you get for giving us money? Well, for the low price of £1 or $1.50 or wherever the conversion is, plus VAT, you get to show your support for the show. You get a nice little shout out at the end of every episode so that everybody who listens gets to know what a great person you are, and we'll also include your handles for any of the social media platforms you're on, whatever you like basically. Also, once a month you'll get the opportunity to pick a movie for me and Sophie to watch and review, so that you really feel like you're getting your value for money. And that's it, for the time being anyways. So head over to patreon.com/SPFilmViewers, get involved, and thank you for being part of the community. Cheers. And we're back. Just finished watching Gregory's Girl. We're going into this right off the cuff with our thoughts and feelings. So, as I kind of thought it might be, it wasn't too heavily focused on the football aspect.
No, thankfully not. But what it was heavily based on wasn't that great either, to be fair.
Because I think if people were to go into the film expecting it'd be like an underdog story race around football, I think they probably would be pretty disappointed. But I kind of like the aspect that it wasn't. It was more like just sort of high school life or upper school, whatever.
Yeah,
in the 80s.
Oh god, it was so cringy. It really was. Like every little bit about it.
Really?
Yeah, it just like the music, the first opening scene where there's a woman. I'm closing my window, shutting my curtains every time I take my clothes off now, because like we're across a field, like where we live. So normally I don't feel like
back at home, not the hotel.
Not the hotel. So I normally don't really feel like I have to worry about that, like somebody peeking in.
Yeah.
But she wasn't, like, she was in a woodland and she'd probably thinking the same, like, no one will be in there.
Yeah.
And there's a group of boys, like, saying, take your bra off, and it's like this
Brassiere.
weird... Oh, I've not heard that word in, like, God knows how long. It's just so cringy, and it's like, is this literally how they're opening it? Like, what the hell? And it definitely felt 80s.
And the hairstyles, definitely. And just, obviously, like, the cars and the way it was filmed, but obviously that's how it was back then,
the class of women.
Yeah.
That was really grating on me as well. Like, how these boys were just all, like, wooing at women, and that's all they were. They were, like, just like a sex symbol.
Yeah, exactly.
Not actually the fact that we've got brains and we're intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
Just like, oh, wow, she's beautiful. It's like, is that all you can see?
Yeah, it's a stunner or whatever, yeah. That kind of old-fashioned style of how men see women, yeah.
A lot of things were getting on my nerves when I was watching it.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even Gregory, he was like one of those annoying, nerdy guys, which you kind of loved a little bit and feel for him. But at the same time, he's only got that one thing on his mind.
Just like every boy of that age, yeah, in puberty and everything.
I don't really remember being like that when I was a teen. Like, it wasn't the be-all and end-all for me to have somebody. I don't know if it's more like a boy thing, like they feel like that's what they should do.
I sort of attest to that a little bit. It's kind of like you feel like, I've got to go have a girlfriend, or, get girls to like you. Obviously, most boys are normally like, especially nerdy ones like myself, are like really shy around girls, and trying to talk to them was like really difficult.
Oh,
yeah.
Paul. Bless you. Well, you were shy when we first met.
I know, exactly, so that didn't change much.
How old were you then? Like, you were in your 20s
yeah,
at
exactly,
least.
Yeah. So some people might get more accustomed to that, but,
Okay.
Yeah. But it's down to your personality, I suppose, but...
He did look like what you would look like as a teenager, like his stature, like lanky, skinny boy.
Exactly.
So, bringing us back to the football element,
mm-hmm.
He doesn't really care for the sport, I don't think.
No, it's just a game, it's just a bit of entertainment, really.
It's just something to put on, like, his school kind of report to say he's part of the football team. He doesn't really want to give much effort. It doesn't look like he gives effort in anything apart from trying to get a girl.
Yeah, exactly. Again, it's all it's focusing on, really. I think that's, like to woo women.
So then let's talk about Dorothy. So first of all, yes, she's got that cliche kind of old 80s style hair where it's like a big fringe and it's all like flicked out at the sides. And I think she's unique. She's like, they keep calling her the modern girl because she wants to do football.
Yeah.
And I think that's another thing that's annoying me within this film. Like, why can't women play a game of football? Like, why is that like in that film like a taboo
obviously that's
thing?
more, and now
Yeah.
it's more open to that now. We're more.
But why wasn't it then? Like, why was that an issue?
Yeah, like one of the school lads was saying, like, oh, it's unnatural. Like, oh, it's a rough, tough sport. And it's really not. You may see how the footballers fumble on the floor when they get tackled and everything. It's like, give over yourself. If it was American football, yeah, sure, I wouldn't. Yeah,
because that's like our rugby, isn't it?
Yeah.
That is a little bit more brutal.
I know they got all the padding and stuff, but still, they just go hard on it.
But then any girl could do it, like, literally. Like, I'm sure any girl can do anything if they put their mind to it. And I think that's kind of what this film's somewhat showing.
Yeah. Into the new generation of people to understand that, yes, don't put sexist terms on certain aspects in sport, in this case, but in anything, really.
Yeah.
Oh, women can't be engineers or whatever. Or
it's a load of rubbish. They can do whatever they want. And I kind of credit it for that, but at the same time, I feel like they treat her really disrespectfully.
Still throughout the film, that's still going on because, again, they're just putting her as a sex symbol, basically. Like this photographer guy who goes in this dark room, he's like, oh, taking pictures for the school paper or whatever. And then he goes, like, develops these photos and puts them up in the boys' bathroom and selling them for, was it 15, 20p a piece?
Yeah. It's like, no. How is he getting any money from that? Like,
but it's school days and the 80s, that probably was a lot of money.
charging £1 per photo.
£2.
The chemical and the photograph paper is not cheap. But I guess that's not, you won't be paying for it, it'll be school property.
Yeah, exactly, school will be paying for that.
In university, we had to pay for our paper, I think, and that was a lot of money paying for the paper.
They even said that was expensive back then, when he was going about developing. He said something about, he said like 3 elephants, 4 elephants, 5. What was that about?
I think that's like when you go 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi.
Ah, okay.
So you're trying to get like your actual like count of like a minute.
Is that?
Yeah, so it's the length of the exposure of the light. So he'll be counting how long he wants the light.
Fair enough.
To be fair, when I did it, you had a timer on your enlarger.
Okay.
And you'd set it, and you'd set how long you'd want, and then the light would beam on your paper with the negative print in it, basically, from the light onto your photographic paper, and then it'd time off.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm guessing his wasn't that.
Yeah, probably. Is that a more modernish type of thing?
I guess. So he'll have to
manually, like in his head. Yeah.
Yeah, how long have I exposed it for?
Yeah, okay.
Which I quite like the dark room part, even though he was doing it for the wrong reason. It does make me miss kind of being in the dark room.
Yeah. Also, in terms of like how not just sexualization with young boys and young girls, it seems there was like a lot going on between the teachers as well. Like,
I felt like it was just sexualization in all of it. It was like literally just everyone wanting one another, and I was like, I thought this was meant to be a romance. It could verge onto like a little bit of a weird kind of film for me. Like, what did we watch when we were not reviewing films and there was filming a pornographic kind of film?
Oh, X.
Yeah, now it had more of that kind of like everybody wanting one another in this film, weirdly, which is meant to be like a nice school romance.
All right.
Compared to that X, I know obviously there was more graphical scenes.
Yeah, but that's not like more typical porn setting for that, really.
But this feels like more like it could led into one of those crappy porn.
Well, yeah, because there was a guy who's out of school and he was a window cleaner, and there's always like that, it turns women on us, apparently, because it's like, oh, hey, I'm here to
clean your windows.
Yeah. Here to check your pipes, kind of. Yeah.
Even with the coach and Dorothy, when they were dancing and trying to do the football kind of move, I was like, he's looking at her in this weird kind of pining way.
He does look a bit like you could be, in modern day standards, be like a paedophile. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like...
that kind of look about him.
I didn't know if he was just happy because he was tutoring somebody and they actually were paying attention and wanted to learn, or if it was like because she was a woman.
It might be a bit of both. But when they were doing the training initially, he was like, one of the lads wasn't even bothered about getting proper boots unless he was going to be on the team. So it's kind of like, these boys have like got no hope for the team that he's so passionate about doing.
But then when she is passionate about it, so I guess. But also the way he was pining over a little bit, his face looked a bit.
There's a bit of music there as well, almost
but that's what it is. It's the music that innuendos it, and then his face doesn't help. And it's like, Jesus, like, it just seemed all a bit bizarre to me. I think I didn't really, like, I wouldn't go, oh yeah, I know a good film, somebody go watch this. I would not be saying that. I'd be like, avoid it, don't bother. Yeah. I know it's only an hour and a half, but it felt longer than that.
I guess it kind of did a little bit. But I was kind of hoping for a bit more Scottishisms, I suppose.
Nothing.
Other than the fact that it was kind of obviously the dialect of
their accent
in the school. Yeah,
it could have been set anywhere. To be fair,
yeah, just like a working class estate of Scotland. Yeah, really. I wanted to know more about that kid who I thought I was going to play more into it with that kid who was wandering around the corridors in a penguin suit for whatever reason.
Yeah. They kept on putting him in different rooms, and it was like, well, who is he? Why?
What's his story? Yeah.
But nothing. Like, was he the football mascot? I actually don't know. I assume.
I don't know.
It was also strange that I keep wanting to call him Gregor instead of
Gregor.
Yeah.
Have you seen what we do in the Shadows TV series?
It's amazing. I'd prefer watching that than this film. But he has a little sister called Madeline.
Yeah.
And there's a schoolboy that fancies her.
Yeah.
She's about 9.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, not tonight. I've got to go and help my brother. And it's like, it sounds like somebody going, oh, no, not tonight. I've got a headache. I can't possibly do that. You know. Okay. And just seemed a bit like she was like an old woman in this like 9-year-old's body. It was very bizarre.
Yeah, I don't know if that's to show that a certain generation is growing up and being more mature than the ones in Gregory's school year. So,
but is it more that they were trying to show that the female aspect was more mature
as well? I think there's got that playing on that as well, but I think it's just like a funny thing because again, you don't see the mother around. Really.
You don't. Or
just,
the
well, the father
his father, or was it? I don't know because it's like, oh, your mother was asking about you, so it's like how this has
split
his mum
up.
and dad.
Yeah, it could well be. Yeah,
but then booking breakfast in with him at 8:00 because he nearly gets run over, which is quite.
Did you say
funny.
At the kitchen? So I don't know if that means like an actual place called the kitchen, or just literally means at home.
Yeah, in
the kitchen, so we can have a sit down and have a proper breakfast together, as opposed to just getting out the door straight away and not even bothering. Maybe I think it's probably that. I don't know. So a lot of interesting themes of that, like like the typical day to day, the stuff that's got going on with everything. Really, I did find it quite amusing in parts. Really, just the humour it was going for. So at least it got something out.
Can I have an example?
Well, I think like when he's doing that driving, that man's doing the driving test and everything, and he's like, oh, I did a good job with the emergency stops and everything.
Do you know what it reminds me of? A little bit like a Monty Python kind of humour. It's like the horse clapping thing. Everything seems over exaggerated, and it's just not that funny.
Right, yeah.
And I could see you laughing at some things, and I'm like looking at you thinking, what are we watching?
And just how they delivered some of the lines and stuff, I think it's just sort of amusing, really.
I will give them that they did, like, Gregory was, like, a very good character to have, like, a typical teenager at that age being a bumbling boy, and he did come across that way. Mm-hmm. You've got Madeline, who, bless her, she's, like, older above her years, and is helping her brother out, saying, like, make sure you've washed your neck and for his date and everything. Yeah. Also, at one point, he was putting roll-on deodorant on his shirt, and I'm like, that goes on your armpits. Obviously, that's where you perspire. Yeah. It's not your t-shirt that perspires. So that was a bit like, I don't know how intelligent he actually is. So it looks like you've got a little bit like a love triangle going on without knowing. And I feel like this reminds me a little bit of when I was at school, to be fair. Okay. Where, like, some girls like, oh, this guy's interested in me, but I'm not that interested in him, so I'll put forward somebody else.
Another boy, or they would, or...
No, I think I was the other girl. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like.
The-
I probably was Susan. Probably.
The one he kind of gets at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, roundabout way of trying to. She's sort of interested in him this whole time, and so it's kind of like friends of friends helping you, like kind of leading him literally towards the path in that direction.
But it shows how fickle he is. I don't mean this in a bad way, but it just shows like obviously the girls know what they want, and it's kind of
they're kind of looking out when they're in the overlooking everybody in the playground, or just all the boys, and just saying, "Oh, stupid boys," basically, like just running around doing. Yeah, it
is the case, and to be fair, with Dorothy, she's not interested in him, and you kind of have that scene in Science where Susan is asking, "What do you think of him?" and everything, and I think Susan knows that Gregory is falling for her because she plays football, she's like this amazing thing, and everybody's like attracted to her because she's different. And I think Dorothy, being a good friend to Susan, is like, "Oh, I've been asked out by Gregory," and she'll have obviously said she's not interested. And then the whole scheme of the circle comes up where he then goes on a date with Susan. Now, if he really liked Dorothy, he wouldn't have gone on a date with Susan.
Exactly, yeah.
But he shows what a man thinks.
Well, I think it's, again, like he wanted a bit of attention. It's like, oh, okay, this is, see where this goes type of thing. At a certain age, I know I can attest to, like oh, well, I don't know if I'm ever going to get...
Thanks, Paul. You just put up with me. Is that what you're saying?
No, I meant when I was a lot younger is what I mean by that. Like, I thought I was never going to get, like, anyone would show any interest in me, so, yeah, now, here I am.
Married? Would you ever think that?
No.
No. Come on, give yourself some more credit. You're not a ladies' man, but you're worthy of being married.
Thank you.
You're welcome. But I do know, I think even when we first started dating, you were a little bit like Gregory, to be fair. Because you had that, a couple of girls were like giving you attention and you didn't know where to go.
I guess at that point, yeah, it was kind of surreal in a way. They were just talking to it and they like seemed interested in.
It's always the case when you start dating somebody that then you become appealing and other people want you. Like, if you can be single for ages and nobody wants you, but then when you start dating somebody, it's like, oh, I wanted him. And it's like, well, if you wanted him, why didn't you do something about it? Yeah. But yeah, I can't really say I rated the film.
It was about that guy who was like really interested in food.
I liked him. I'd have dated him out of all of them. I would have, because it's like, oh, he could have made me some delicious food.
Like donuts and pastries and stuff.
Raspberry jam in the donuts. And it's like, oh, yeah, not just strawberry, raspberry. Yeah. You know, it's like just them little added touches. But even him in the principal office seemed a bit shady to me.
Yeah, there's something going on there, yeah.
Yeah, like providing the principal with food and, oh, here's a nice pastry thing I've made. It's called a da-da-da. And all seemed really dark and sinister and a bit seedy with the way it was filmed. Like,
yeah, there's something going on, like, sell stuff in the toilets, which is disgusting. The
oh, yeah, they were selling food in the toilet.
As well as those photos. Yeah.
Also, it was on the toilet, like,
it was like, oh,
bank.
No, thanks.
Like, literally, you've wiped yourself or whatever, and then you press the button.
Yeah, button on the top, yeah. Well,
or the handle at the side, maybe, but still.
But still, it's still in the toilets with people's shit smell and everything. Yeah. Ugh. Yeah.
It just showed back then, though, that people didn't really think about that. No. It wasn't like...
Nah, they eat sandwiches with dirty, grubby hands.
Imagine now us doing that. No one would do it.
No. Standards kind of a little bit. Also, there's a lot of, I mean, smoking in the toilets was probably not like a uncommon thing for in middle working class schools and everything, but one kid had like one of those old man pipes as well, and playing chess. It's like, I don't know what he was going for there. Like again, maybe it's because I think they were quite small as well. So maybe it's the younger ones are a bit more sophisticated in the environment they're in. But still, I think very odd.
It was really bizarre, and even the way that like certain characters were talking, like at the football pitch, like, oh, good thinking of getting a girl on the team, and he's in his little leather jacket and he looks like a little adult.
Yeah.
And it's like, what the hell is this film actually?
Yeah. I feel like it's some sort of commentary on something like that, like how everything's like certain generation are just the way they are, and then
Mum and Dad's generation, I feel like it is, isn't it? Like, I know they were like born in like the 60s or something like that, but like kind of the teenage
I don't know.
era, yeah.
Mm.
But it does show how people change, and this film is definitely dated. It does look like it's stuck in the 80s and its morals and everything like that.
Yeah.
You can watch certain films like Singing in the Rain, and even though it is on an old classic piece, it still doesn't feel dated in the sense of the way that it delivers itself.
I guess not, but that wasn't really what it was trying to convey in terms
whereas
of...
this does convey it. And I think there was a film we watched the other day. Was it The Shining? Does it say the N word in it?
Oh yeah, it does. Yeah, it does.
I was a little bit like, I don't know, because we were in the cinema watching it. It felt a little bit weird for them to say that word. I know it sounds daft.
I know what you mean. Yeah. White people saying that,
and it was just a bit like, that's a bit wrong. That's not, I feel like that should be cut out of the film.
I don't. Yeah,
but it's one of those things where it was okayed at the point.
To an extent, but yeah. It's strange. Yeah,
it's funny when you look back at older films.
Certain things, yeah, you think, why did they do that? But that's how it is. And
it was acceptable.
It shouldn't have to censor things like that just because a little bit of feeling like a bit of a snowflake about the situations. It's like, just get over yourself. It's how it is, and just have to deal with it. Like how Disney, I don't think they'll ever release like Song of the South on Disney Plus, which is kind of like a racist kind of...
I don't know what that is.
It's a bit like you've seen like Bedknobs and Broomsticks.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, when I see like cartoons live action, it's like a thing, a similar thing with that. It's set in the South,
right?
Down, the deep South type of thing. But I think there's themes in that are just like cool, a bit risky to modern day standards. So people are in uproar about that. So yeah.
Bringing it back to this film though, I feel like the way it ended was a bit like, what? Is that it? Like I think I said that when it finished. I was like,
yeah, the way did it, all I could think was that because he got stood up on this date, and then Susan kind of swooped in. I think she was the one who wanted the date the whole time. Really, obviously there's that connection with them, and he's like having a really good time with her. She's sort of down to earth because he's like literally lying on the ground and
I think they were more suited for one another. Yeah,
and they spent the whole evening just lying on, dancing, lying down on the... Yes, and that nice little quirk. I think that would be probably much shot differently if it was in a modern film. I think maybe like literally looking down at it as if they were dancing, but they were just angled that they were just lying on the
side.
On the floor. But I think pretty much the last part where you kind of see Dorothy just doing her training. I think it's by running, like just getting exercise. Is like she's too focused on her sports. Ain't no time for any men.
Yeah, I'm an independent woman.
Yeah, focusing on that. Whereas that's what I take from that.
And it just panned off, and then it was like the end kind of thing, and you were like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
It just felt like there wasn't much of it, and then it felt long at the same time. It wasn't really predictable because I didn't really see the end coming, I guess. But I'm not in love with it. I'm sorry, guys, for his first one back, and I'm like, it was all right. But we did have limitations, and obviously
we're not necessarily. I think it was just my criteria of like I wanted to do it Scottish based, and something that wouldn't have to sort of pay for really. Where again, so like annoying looking on lists. There's things that obviously and also the fact that one we haven't seen either. There was that as well problem. So it's like I've seen that, like Train Spotting for example is really good, but you still have to pay for it. But you've already seen it. I've seen it anyway, so that wouldn't work for on off.
I just can't wait until we get to Christmas. Like we're so close now.
I don't know if there's any other things that spring to mind from the film. Really,
the only other bit was like that guy with the longer hair, like was like fishing for a date and like kind of constantly wanted a date.
And he was getting all these throwing these facts and figures, and it's like, that's not how you win a girl over, talking about how to kill, like hanging
how Venice has been made.
Also,
Gregory did kind of shaft his friend a little bit by kind of saying, "Oh, I think you're going to get kicked off the football team," which he said, "Oh, well, if you get somebody else, I'll be your goalie." So he kind of took his friend's position in the team. And then, bless him, his friend was looking a bit devastated. So he's like, "Oh, I'll just go and look over the bridge and look at traffic because I like the big lorries." Like, what the hell? Why is this so strange?
And it's like, do you know how many tons of cornflakes pass through? So, like, great. Yeah,
who is writing this? Like, and as an actor, they're not going, really? Do I have to say this? Like, I'd be questioning it, but...
You can say that about a lot of films, to be honest.
Yeah.
Certain lines. And I don't think that... I mean, there's a thing of, like, why do boys like numbers? Like, facts and figures kind of thing. I don't know. That's about measuring things by how big a number means greater things. I don't know. But
I think guys do like fact and figures where girls go by the gut and the heart, whereas men have to go by their brain.
Did you know that the sneeze goes, what, was it that?
Oh, I don't know.
Hour,
yeah, probably. Like, women don't retain that as much as men.
Don't really need to know that.
No.
With the sneeze. But yes, it's very fast.
So what was the rating on IMDb then? It
was like 7.
7.1 out of 10.
Yeah. You not much of that. No?
I don't think so.
Right. Okay.
And on this one though, for the fact of us being back, you haven't seen it either, so you get to go first.
I think it's going to be a bit lower than what IMDb says anyway, really. But I don't think... Obviously, we mentioned before about the director, Bill Forsyth.
I don't even think I enjoyed that film.
Local Hero.
Let me just Google it. Let me just check. Remember rightly. Yeah, no, that was really slow paced as well, to be fair.
But I think that was definitely had more about it, I think, really. This was just like I say, it could be a comedy that could be set in London school or
at least you had
Yorkshire.
some scenic kind of views.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's really pretty. Yeah.
Whereas this could have been anywhere. It could have been just a set, like you were saying the other day. Like Friends wasn't filmed in New York, which I didn't know.
Can't believe you didn't know that.
Well, no, because I just assumed, why not? They've got enough money. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Go on.
6.5. Because there was some humour there that I did like. It was more on my level of just sort of like the dialogue between everybody, really, that kind of got me, really. There was, there was, I mean, basics of football there, but again, you didn't need to know too much about the sport or anything to know what was going on. They say it didn't really focus on that after a while. It was more like the romance between how we was just having a crisis.
Yeah.
About, we can't, securing a date with this Dorothy. But, yeah. I don't know if I would really, seek it out again, really. But definitely more I would Local Hero. That means a lot more to me anyway, really, because of school and stuff and just, yeah. So, but yeah, I've sort of not seen it now, but I think I will be because again, like I said, I heard the name of the thing I wanted to check out. So
Gregory.
so it's your turn now. What?
I'm giving it a 4.
Oof.
Because it was just cringy. Everyone was a sleazeball in it and just wanted everyone's pants down. And I don't know, I wouldn't see it again. It didn't fill my heart with anything. I don't feel anything towards it apart from this is really outdated and old, and it doesn't give me any love for Scotland at all. Sorry. I've been having a lovely time, and then we were like, oh, let's put a film on. We're like, really? But I think hopefully now going forward, we can get into a better kind of rhythm with films and stuff. I know the ones that we both haven't seen have been a bit more ropier, and that's no fault of anybody's. It's just because we haven't seen them.
Yeah, but the reason I say seek this out because it's highly scored on the.
Well,
thing.
That's why I said you have to go by Sophie's scores, not IMDb, because I don't know who writes those scores because I don't think sometimes they're accurate. They really
It's
need to
like-
hire me to do that job, and I will help people out. And they don't have to waste an hour and a half of the time then. Because I don't think they're being honest to themselves. Like, what makes it a 7?
Well, you'd have to look through.
I'd have to. If somebody has a really good argument of why this should be a 7, please tell me and like leave it in the comments and such. But I really don't think you can convince me. But if you do, I am easily swayable, unless you have got a really good point. That is.
Okay. Well, there you have it. Back into the swing of things, and
yeah, it's nice, isn't it? It doesn't feel any different being married, does it?
oh, why would it?
Well, I don't know. Some people it does, but obviously we've already had the house together. We've lived together for near enough 10 years, going on 10 years this year. So I think we're pretty much settled now. And I can't wait until we start Christmas. I think I'm counting it down. I think we'll be starting recording back end of November.
Yeah.
So that's like 3 weeks away.
Yeah, won't be long, yeah.
Woo! Sorry.
Yeah. So, I think I've got something in mind for next time anyway that's it kind of a lot of sort of veering onto Christmas anyway. So in a way, it's sort of like December time. So
I love you.
Yeah, you might.
So, is it going to be one of those that you say it's Christmas and it's not Christmas?
I don't know. It just has a sort of that sort of winter feel to it, I suppose.
Okay.
Yeah, you might. Yeah.
Don't put your foot in it.
It's really good though.
Okay. I'll believe you on that one.
So, thank you very much for listening to our first episode back here in this hotel room.
I hope you've missed us.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for everyone's like lovely support and everything while we've been away. And bless him, Paul still working his socks off to keep everybody updated of where we're at and movements.
Yeah. Thank you for that. And if you'd like to go and listen to some of our previous episodes from the back catalogue, you can do so by going to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, and wherever else you get your podcasts from. Also, like to start plugging the Patreon that we've got going on now. Obviously, it gets you more involved with the community a little bit more. You give us £1 a month. You get a nice shout out every episode. Show that all the people who listen, like, what a great person you are. Obviously, any like social media handles and stuff that you want us to plug for you, we can do so. And the idea is also to have you vote on an episode that we watch and review and once every month. So that's hopefully going to be on the back end.
Yeah. So please do, if you are feeling generous. I know times are a little bit tight. That's why we've kind of gone for like £1, basically.
Like just 25p
a week.
A week, yeah, for 4 weeks, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. It's obviously that's slightly different with the conversion in dollars, but I think it's probably pittance as well, really, considering.
Well, I think actually now the dollar is better off than the pound at the moment. You know what crises the UK are having. So anything like that would be appreciated. Also, it helps you guys getting your names out there, and it just shows a little bit of love and support for us, doesn't it? Which is always generally appreciated.
Absolutely.
So if you do, and you haven't already followed us, you can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok under the handle SP_filmviewers. And now I am generally the owner of SP because I am Sophie Parks. So I am SP. So yeah, even though you won't be talking to me because Paul does all the hard work. Was there one last thing we needed to say?
Oh, just that obviously the Patreon address was patreon.com/SP filmviewers, all one word. No underscore on that one. Please
do, if you want to support us, obviously just think of all the hard work Paul puts behind the scenes of this. So even now, after I've sat here and rambled for an hour, he's going to painstakingly make us sound amazing. And at the same time, all the beautiful drawings and everything that he does. So, hands down, all credit to Paul.
Yep, and also if you'd like to leave us a 5-star review, you can do that on all the podcast platforms as well, where they do the scoring system. So I think that's everything for now.
Is that a wrap?
That's a wrap. Until next time.
Felt a bit rusty now. Is that daft? Loosen my joints up a little.
Yeah. And somewhat sort of easy going into it.
Yeah, I'm just glad we missed Halloween. I know you'll pay me back next year. It's fine.
Yeah.
You're like, but it's our anniversary. Can I not use that one?
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for listening, and we will speak to you next time.
Speak to you next time.
Bye.
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 Bye.